Hello and welcome, and thanks for watching Connecting Hope, presented by the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs. I'm Will Hampton with Monica Greer. Later in the show, Keith Passon, who's the general manager of WHMB, is going to join us to talk about, well, the station, but also his family's personal story. You'll want to stay tuned for that. But let's talk about your drug take-back that happened on April 24th.
Yeah.
You were out there again. And these are things you do twice a year?
We do twice a year, along with the DEA. Been doing it for several years, so hopefully a lot of the community members know that we're going to be there the last Saturday of April and October.
Yeah, and really the point of this is, we've talked a couple of our success stories along the way. You know, old drugs, prescribed medicine that's sitting around in your cabinets and in your medicine cabinet, that's bad news potentially, right?
Right. Yeah, it's bad to keep it, and it's bad to just toss it in the trash as well. So getting it out safely and just ensuring that it doesn't get in the wrong hands.
Yeah. So you did this April 24th, and then you'll do it again. You said in October.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that just something you guys have felt is a success?
Well, it's along with the DEA. It's a national take-back event dates, so I think that they just do that to separate, to give people time to collect the next round of medication that they need to toss. So.
Did you sign any autographs while you were out there?
I did not.
You did not?
Nobody asked.
Darn.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break. But as we go to break, we're going to hear this week's success story, part one of Adam's story.
I was about 17 years old when I really started to get big into alcohol. I had some issues going on in my life. Early on, I kind of always felt a little inadequate, I guess, less than. I always felt like I was never really good enough, and so growing up, I was in the Boy Scouts, and my escape was I was going to join the military when I was 18. I wanted to join the Air Force. But when I was born partially deaf in my left ear, and so when I went to do the physical in MEPS, they failed me. So that kind of was the final straw, I guess, if you will. And I just went to a party with a friend of mine, and he was just like, let's basically just get drunk. And that's exactly what I did. And from then on, I just kind of felt at peace, and I felt this, I don't know, this overwhelming sense of just at ease for the first time in my life. And that's really kind of when I felt alcohol kind of doing something for me that it never really did before. Like, I didn't really think I had an issue. I was like 18 or 19 at the time, and I was working at a place that kind of almost promoted drinking in a way. And so I worked with a whole bunch of guys. They partied all the time, and it was kind of promoted. And I got my first DUI in 2009, and that's really when things started to kind of go downhill for me, and I kind of realized that I might have an issue. And so, I mean, I was drinking literally every day. I couldn't tell you how much I was drinking. At that point, I was kind of a functioning alcoholic, I guess. I would go to work and then come home and drink, but it was an everyday thing. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't really focus on anything aside from getting drunk pretty much all the time.
Welcome back to Connecting Hope. Will Hampton with Monica Greer, and a very special guest this week, Keith Passon, who's the general manager here at WHMB TV.
I like that, very special.
You know, hey, I've got to kiss up to you a little bit. You're the boss.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for letting us have this forum to
You're
host
welcome.
Connecting Hope. This has been, like we said, 36 weeks.
It is, that's amazing. I was surprised when I heard that.
Yeah. Tell me about WHMB Family Broadcasting.
Right.
The idea behind it, the mission behind it. A lot of people don't know what the mission is.
Well, we're different than, I call it, the stations downtown. You know, our studio's in Noblesville. What people may not know is we're a full power Indianapolis television station. We're licensed to the city, to the community of Indianapolis. And our main tower sits right down there on Michigan Road, off of 465 there, where all the big 1,000-foot towers are. So we're just like any other television station, except we're owned by a Christian ministry. There's nobody that really, I guess you would say, owns us. We're a 501c3 nonprofit entity, again, owned by a Christian ministry. And so we're sort of this different animal, that we're a commercial station, but nonprofit in nature. So there aren't a lot of stations out there like us. So we're in it for a different reason. We don't have to, keep stockholders happy. We're not in it to quote unquote make a profit. Now we are. I mean, we're out there trying to generate dollars and put them in the coffers of our company, and then we in turn can go out. I mean, this all originated from Dr. Lester Sumrall, and his vision was to win 1 million to Christ. Well, that number was far surpassed in his lifetime with what he did. He's now been dead. I've been here almost 26 years. He died 10 months after I got here.
Really?
So Dr. Sumrall has been gone for a quarter of a century now, but the ministry continues on. It was passed down to his son, Pete, who I worked under for 20 years. Pete passed away unexpectedly 5.5 years ago, and now to Pete's son and daughter, Drew and Angela, and it just continues. For years, we were known as LaC Broadcasting, which stood for Lester Sumrall Evangelistic Association. But now, since we're in sort of the third generation of the Sumrall family leading the station, 2-3 years ago, we changed the name to Family Broadcasting. It's probably more appropriate to be that. But that's what we are. There's a different vision. There's a part of us where we're feeding almost 300,000 kids a day. I mean, let that number sink in. 300,000 kids a day. Now, it's a different part of our ministry, but that makes my heart well to know that I'm working for more than a paycheck, that I'm working for something that changes lives, not only from a spiritual sense, but Jesus was big on, you better meet their physical needs or they're not going to even want to listen to you on the spiritual side. Because if they're hungry, you better fill their bellies first.
Loaves and fishes, right?
Oh man! So that's just a great thing to be involved in. That's pretty cool. That a part of us, that I know I work in something that in a small way I help contribute to that. And been here a long time. WHMB, longest continuously operated Christian television station in the nation. And again, we're more family programming now than just Christian programming, but we get to tie a lot of those things together. So what you guys are doing, I mean, it's a phenomenal tie-in, because you guys are out there helping the hurting, and that's what we're supposed to be all about. So.
Well, we appreciate that. And I know you have a personal story with your daughter.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah, tell us, if you don't mind sharing, how her journey of addiction started. And
Sure, Maggie's real open to that. My daughter Megan, who's 24 today, 24 and a half, and she, so she's raised in this Christian home, and trust me, my wife and I are not perfect, me much more so than her, not being not.
Yeah, we know.
And it's so I have all kinds of shortcomings, and I'm sure being a dad was one of those. But, we're raising our kids in a Christian home. We're sending them to Christian schools, thinking, I guess, they're all protected. And I'm totally aloof. I mean, years ago, I don't work nearly as hard now as I did, but I'm almost 66 years old now. But there was a time in my life where, I was putting in 70, 80 hours a week. We were blessed that my wife could stay home, and she was a homemaker for the last 33, 34 years. So a lot of times I was busy working. And I never knew there were issues. And man, we finally find out when Megan is, 18 years old, that she is into all kinds of things with drugs and alcohol. And there were specific times where I would be called and I'd have to go get her because she was totally, I don't know if she was just drunk or it was drugs on top of drinking. She was literally out of her mind. And a friend would call and say, she's in a really bad way. You've got to come and pick her up. And once those things started, and I'm sure my wife knew a little bit more, but we started, at least with me, I started understanding, man, there was an issue here. And I remember the turning point was she was out of her mind one night at home, And I am literally wrestling with her on the bed, and I'm pretty big and strong. I am wrestling with my daughter on the bed. She is out of her mind at one point telling me, I'm the greatest dad in the world. And then the next sentence, oh, I hate you, you know, this and that. And it was just like, there was something
Yeah.
really bad going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where, but today, long story short, with that, we can talk about other things, but today, we sent her off to a recovery center. It must have been in September of what would it be? It's 2020, so 2016. In our case, we flew her all the way out to California, one-way ticket. And today she's 4.5 years sober.
That's awesome.
So it's phenomenal, and she's very proud of that. As she gets,
Congratulations, Megan.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
as she gets the badges or whatever they get, she's got that baby up on Facebook, and hey, here's
Yeah.
my 1 year, 2 years, 3 years clean, whatever that thing is.
So someone watching this and they maybe are experiencing some of the same things. What are some of the signs that you think now looking back that you should have seen that maybe you can help someone with?
Well, for me, it should have been the involvement. There is no question I should have been much more involved and cognizant that something was going on. And then probably looking back, the fact that I'm sure it could have helped if my wife and I were talking more about it. And for me not to have been, probably as heavily invested in work as I was. And then obviously she didn't feel open enough to talk to us about it. And I don't know that I can give you an answer, Will, on how to fix that. But there's somebody that can do that much better than I obviously did. In terms of every day, I would think opening that line of communication up and saying, what's going on? How was your day today? What things are happening? I remember when I finally talked to her about it, when all this came out in the open. She had a sense, again, going to Christian school, she had a sense of really being bullied. And she was somebody who was, it's funny, I've got 3 kids, we adopted one later in life, so 2 natural born children. And man, the first one is like my wife, totally outgoing. He's the life of the party. That's the good thing, and that's the bad thing. He's the life of the party. And then Megan is a lot like me, much more reserved, shy, doesn't make friends easily. And, if I could have gotten into that more and really listened to and heard the junk that was going on in life.
But think of the courage it took, and you've seen this in your line of work, the courage it took to say, enough is enough. You're getting on that one-way plane.
Absolutely,
As a
and we didn't give her a
family-
choice.
Yeah, as a family, you made that decision, and look what it's done now. Now she's 5 years sober.
Yep, we did not give her a choice, and it was quite a day of reckoning, and then wondering, okay, is she going to follow through? But we made sure it was a direct flight.
Yeah.
There was no way she could not get off that thing, and they were there to meet her when she came off the airplane, and it's all
Yeah.
worked out great.
And it sounds like, you put a lot on yourself. But too, Megan probably didn't know. I don't know when the point was that she realized she had a
Sure.
problem, but, she's doing things with her friends.
young,
And, she might just think, well, this is, normal.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm glad. I know it's so hard for parents to enable their children and just to try and protect them, and I really am proud of the way you handled it and were able to let go and say, you need this. There's nothing that we can do for you.
Right.
You need help.
Well, and it's been interesting getting to learn this, and she's had lots of people come and go, others that have come and went back into that life, and it's so much is dependent on that person wanting to be well
Yes.
and whole.
Yeah.
There's only so much we can do. She has got to want it.
Yeah.
And
For her to put it on social media, that she's
Yep.
strong in it.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, she's not trying to
Absolutely.
hide anything.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing, and
Thank
thank
you.
you and your family
Sure.
for doing what you do. Real quick, to come back full circle, the station, WHMB, when you think about their connection to kids, the programming on this station can help young people.
Absolutely.
They may be watching a high school football game on Friday night,
Right.
but they're getting a message. They're getting that faith-based message on this channel,
Yeah.
and that's important in our community.
It is, and in the last year, Will, we've added a lot of new faces here, especially in the sales end of things. And man, there are so. I mean, earlier today there were other productions going on that had nothing to do with this program, and it's really cool seeing the huge outreach and the many varied topics some of those local shows are now taking.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your leadership.
Sure, you're welcome.
And thank
passing.
you for allowing us to have a show.
Yeah. Wouldn't do it without you.
You're more than
Couldn't do
welcome.
it. Thank you very much. We're back with more Connecting Hope after this. Welcome back to Connecting Hope, and again, thanks to Keith Passon, our general manager here, for sharing his family's story. And congratulations, Megan, 5 years sober. That's and like you pointed out, that she's telling people, she's putting it on social media.
Yeah.
That's an important part of it.
Yeah,
Isn't
it helps keep her accountable to herself and to others. And it helps other people know that she is in recovery if a friend of hers is in a terrible spot and wants to chat.
Well, thank you for watching, and thank you, Megan. And now it's part 2 of tonight's success story. It's Adam's story.
This last time, I remember I had lost my job, and I was living in my brother's basement at the time, and I was just getting completely drunk. I would black out and then wake up and drink a little bit and then black out again, and that was just kind of my life for about 6 months. And so I ended up having kind of a panic attack kind of thing, and my parents were called over, and they took me to, I forget what hospital it was, but it got so bad to the point where I was like trying to run out in front of traffic, trying to end it all, to be honest. Really just trying to kill myself. I was just at that point in my life where I felt that I couldn't live with alcohol and I couldn't live without it. And I really legitimately wanted to end it all, but I didn't have the courage to do it myself. So when I was in a blackout, I kind of just decided that that's what I wanted to do, And so I woke up out of a blackout, strapped to a gurney, and that's really kind of when it hit me, like, okay, something needs to change. I didn't really feel anything. I was just kind of feeling like a zombie going through life, without having any kind of reason to be here. It's one thing when people think of an alcoholic or a drug addict in addiction. It's completely different when you put the substance away and you no longer have that feeling of just feeling okay. It's just like you take away your best friend and then what, So I was about 3 months sober, and my sponsor and myself started working a 12-step program, and every step of the way I just kind of felt more away from my addict self and closer to God, my God that I understand. My life today is incredible. I'm not fearful, I'm not worried. Like I know how to love today, where before I didn't know how to. I can have a legitimate relationship and be genuine, which is huge for me. I never knew how to do that. And I feel free. And the best way to explain like the 12 steps to anyone is that I was able to tap into a power that trumps any and all kind of feelings that alcohol ever gave me. That is the key thing for me. It's when you take away alcohol or drugs, it has such a hold on you because it makes you feel invincible, it makes you feel warm, it makes you feel, accepted, and all of these feelings, that's how it makes you feel. And when you've never experienced those things before, it's like you're constantly trying to chase that next high because you just want to feel that way sober. And what a lot of people don't understand is I don't want to use. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to go out and get drunk all the time. But what I do want is I want to feel just okay for a minute. You know what I mean? And that's what alcohol gave me, So if I remove the alcohol and I don't replace that thing with anything constructive or good, I'm just going to kind of be floating through life waiting for the next drink, you know, and that's what my past has shown me. So today, just after being completely honest and transparent and giving myself to this program, like my life has legitimately changed in a way that I never thought would be even possible, you know.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much for sharing. And so many of these success stories, their ability to share, they know it's helping other people. I think that's why they're willing to step up and do what they do on this show, right?
Yeah, they know the struggle, and for them to be able to help somebody in some way, it helps them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, thanks to Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah.
His new place, Mockingbird Hill, seems to be taking off.
Yeah, that's an amazing facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mockingbird Hill in Anderson, Madison County.
Yep.
All right. We're going to take a break back to close out this edition of Connecting Hope after this. Welcome back, and again, thank you so much for watching Connecting Hope, presented by the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs. Will Hampton with Monica Greer, and the council, thank you guys for the work you're doing. Do you feel like you've now been in this role now, how many years now? You took over for George
2.5,
Christo?
yeah.
So George Christo, I gotta say thanks again to George for the desk and so much more. But
Yes.
You feel like you're in your wheelhouse now, right? With this?
Yeah, it feels good. I love my job. I love what I'm doing. It's rewarding, and I get to work with great people like you, Will.
Wow, that's nice. You got a great team.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing what you do. Real quickly, the Youth Service Awards are coming up again. at
Yep,
the end
May
of the month.
24th. Yep. Yeah, so looking forward to that. The commissioners are a huge help with that. They are the ones that present the awards. So it's a big event, and the kids deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, they're young and they're stepping up to help,
Yeah.
learning life lessons at an
Yeah.
early age.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It's very impressive.
Monica, it's always special to sit here next to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's Monica Greer. I'm Will Hampton. We appreciate you watching Connecting Hope.